there's a comment that I want to make, and this probably going to transfer us to this topic right here, man. Yeah. So I find it real sus, and I'm one of those people that I call a spade, and if I'm, sus about something, I'm going to bring it to their attention. I'm not like the big media outlets that try to hide stuff or not to talk about certain stuff. I will bring it up on my platform. I'll tell you, I start paying me. If y'all start paying me, then maybe, you feel me? But right now I ain't getting paid, so I'm going to bring it up. But Joseph Parker was at this event, at the UFC event 264 yesterday, taking Snapchats, snaps or whatever. And it's funny because there was a report that he was at Tyson Fury's camp, the camp that tested positive. And there's a reason why. We all know why Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder 3 is being postponed, possibly to October, because Fury and members of his teammates tested positive for COVID. But one of those members that was reported to test positive 2 days ago or 3 days ago now was Joseph Parker. And Joseph Parker was at the UFC event 264 having himself a ball. So my question is, and I'm not saying, this was, shady stuff. I mean, it is shady. But why was Joseph Parker at this event if he tested positive? Like, why? Like, I can somebody please try to talk that into me? Dino, what's your thoughts on that?
We've been following Fury Wilder 3, me and you, for a long time. Since the negotiations with Joshua, since the arbitrator came in and ruled that Wilder got the fight with Fury, and we've been following this for a while. And, we haven't heard anything really. I think besides, I think it was Bob Arum is the only one who said October. I forgot who said it, but, besides from a promoter, we haven't heard anything from Fury. We haven't heard anything from Wilder. And it's so what's going on here? Ever since this fight came to fruition, it's been a little I don't know, just something seemed off about it. It wasn't going to happen, or just something was going to happen. And now, with Fury testing positive, his camp testing positive, it's sort of what's going on here? I mean, not saying people get sick, it happens, but it's just sort of it adds more fuel to the fire of dang, this fight really, I guess, was never meant to happen, or just something was going to happen and delay it. Did Fury have a bad camp, or did Wilder have a bad camp, or who the heck knows? I definitely think it is weird that Joseph Parker, tests positive, and then he's at an event with 21,000 people in it.
What are you doing
and the disease is a mass spreader. So it's what's going on here? I thought you were supposed to, go home and quarantine for 10 to 14 days or something like that. So it's what are you doing at the fight? Having a ball. And it's I have my shot, but who knows if people got their shot, they're going to get sick. And it's what's going on here? I really don't know. I mean, I don't want to doubt anything. I don't want to say oh, Fury had a bad camp and this is their way of stalling or something like that. I don't want to say that, but it's just when you haven't heard anything, even a tweet or something, or Fury said something to an agent that the agent put out, and it's oh, he's doing well, he well wishes. I haven't heard or seen anything. I could be wrong, but it's just from both parties, it's what's going on here? I don't know.
And he since deleted that Insta snap. So that made me even more sus. Why you deleting snaps now? I went back on a couple hours later, it was off. Almost like somebody told him, bro, you better take that down. What's going on? Yeah. So I'm really sus about this whole situation. And now I'm a Fury fan. But at the end of the day, why am I not hearing nothing out of that camp? Why is Joseph Parker testing positive for a damn disease and is at an event with 20,000+ people? I just don't understand that. Isaiah, what's your thoughts on this?
Hey, man, there's only one word that comes to mind when I think about this, and it's privilege. The brother is overly privileged to just come about and go about with someone with a crazy illness that no one could still explain in layman's terms, and no one could really find a solution to how to cure this disease. And he's walking around with it in a building with 20,000 plus. It could possibly, harm others and possibly get people to contain this disease as well. A lot of people, they feel once they get the vaccination, that's the end all be all. They can't get it, they can't spread it, that's it, and clearly it's not the case, because people are still getting COVID-19 with the vaccination. You have to be more mindful, and this is just another case of that. Joseph Parker, he just walked in there knowingly that everyone knew, or I don't know if anyone knew, but I don't know if it was widespread that Joseph Parker had the illness. I don't know if it was said before the UFC fight, but after the reports, if he knew he had the illness, and then now everyone knows that he had the illness. It was reported before.
Yeah, right, so it was said before. Yeah.
The fact that the securities let him in the building after knowing he has the illness is another issue. You know, it's just disgusting that he even did that. You know, that's just major privilege. There's nothing else I could really think outside of privilege.
Or was he even positive in the first place? Can we bring that to question? Because we can say here, oh, you crazy for walking in here positive. But what if he wasn't positive? What if this is a whole scam that came out? What if Fury had a bad camp? Now, I'm a Fury fan, but I'm a fan of my friends. You know, that's why they're my friends. But if they tell me some BS, I'm going to say, yo, bro, you telling me some BS right now. So Fury's not exempted. What the hell is going on in that camp? Why is there not a trilogy? And if there was positive cases, why is Joseph Parker at the UFC event? And why is media not talking about that? Like, what's all that? You know, media love stories, right? Media always love to find what they can sell to the people.
That's a story.
No ratings. That's a story right there. Why is his UK behind at the UFC event when he tested positive?
That's another thing too that you bring up, because that's interesting you say, because before Tyson Fury said he didn't want to fight Wilder anymore. You know, he said he was done with the fight because they couldn't, for whatever reason, get a date when, you know, right after the second bout, because I know Wilder he's granted a rematch clause because he lost the belt, so he had a rematch clause, and he, for whatever reason, Fury was like, all right, well, if I'm not gonna fight you, I'm gonna fight Joshua. And for whatever reason, there was I think not whatever reason, because, you know, COVID happened, so there was a long period of time where, like, we don't know what was going to happen to the combat sports world. You know, while Fury went, I think, fight with 2 years, I think, two plus years. I think Wilder and Fury were fought, and then, like, Fury hasn't had a fight since then, and Wilder hasn't had a fight since then. So
about a year and a half.
And while Fury was set to fight Joshua, you know, that was already set in stone. People were excited about it, and this before Fury and Wilder 3 was even announced or even thought about. And then right out of nowhere, I think WBA or someone sanctioned that Wilder needs a rematch for his belts. So they're going to do that fight first. And then they're going to do that against Joshua. And then they're going to do the Joshua thing later on for, like, the unify everything. So it's like, it's a lot of, like, questions coming into everything because of, one, we was expecting Fury and Joshua. And then two, now we had it was pushed away because of Wilder and Fury, which no one knew was going to happen because Fury wasn't saying anything. Fury was saying stuff. Wilder wasn't saying anything. And they two sides couldn't negotiate terms on whatever. So it took a long time for both camps, I guess, to really get to this point. And I think it's just, at this point, do we even want to, is it really the most anticipated fight that we really wanted, you know? Because Fury, it seemed like he won convincingly in that second fight, you know? The first fight was closer, but even then, it was just like, Wilder had the more power punches. Fury was the more technical boxer that night, whatever, right? Second fight, it seemed like everything was going Fury's way with the punches, landing them pretty clean, except for a couple people who stated that Fury had some behind the head punches that look questionable because of a lot of different, you know, aspects, and then throwing in the towel that that made Wilder fire his coach. There's so much different things going on, man, and I just want to see the fight. Like, at this point, just show us the fight, man.
It's crazy because I actually think no matter how good Fury looked in that second fight, because he looked like clearly the better fighter, I still think this is the most interesting fight that could be made in the heavyweight division still, even in the trilogy.
Easily.
Even though we can argue Fury won the first two fights, because Wilder has that power that you're just holding your breath for when it lands, if it's able to land, if he's able to create that space for it to land, if Fury not backing him up. He just touch you one time, that could be it. Wilder always say, you can be good for 11 rounds, I only got to be good for one, and you're out of there. And that's facts, and records show that. Previous, you know, fights he had shows that against Luis Ortiz. Won every round Luis Ortiz did, and then he got caught. So that's what makes this fight even more intriguing, because you know Wilder always have a puncher's chance. And boxers in general always have a puncher's chance. But when you have a puncher, he has an even bigger puncher's chance. And that's what Wilder presents. But my question here is, and I keep rolling back to it, is why did Joseph Parker find himself at the UFC event? And when you think about Fury's title defenses, does anybody have any information of Fury title defenses? Have he even defended a title in his career after he won a title? He never did against Klitschko. Yeah. Remember? Never gave him the rematch. He was declared medically unfit because of the situation with him. And now we get to Wilder. He won against Wilder, Where's the title defense? So, you know, Fury's one of my favorite boxers, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of susness in this situation that I want people to, if they know, to call me and let me know or leave a comment or something. Dino, you got any more thoughts?
No, I agree with you, because the whole thing with Joseph Parker going to the event, it's like, granted, even if he didn't post anything on social media, you have to feel that, you know, someone there would have recognized him and would have said something about it. So I feel like, you know, even if he didn't post anything, people would have found out anyway that he went. So it's like, why even put yourself in that predicament in the first place? You know, if you're really sick with it, you know, you wouldn't go. I mean, me, if like, you know, I was showing symptoms, I wouldn't go either. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm that sick and I'm staying in bed, I'm drinking water and I'm staying in bed. You know, I'm not getting up, going anywhere. You know,
got me locked in my house.
We've been told since we were 5 years old to stay home when you're sick. So it's like, you know, if you're sick, you're not going to go anywhere. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's just the whole situation is just sus.
And y'all got me locked in my house. You feel me? Y'all want to tell me the quarantine, but meanwhile, this cat is positive and at the UFC event. Y'all need to kick rocks. I'm going where the hell I want to go now. You know, after watching
right.
You know, but
it's like, come on now.
I'm not screwing. I'm about to walk out without no mask, man. Come on. Got this cat there positive at a UFC event. But even if he wasn't positive and that was a false report, right? Contact tracing. Still, why is he at the UFC event if he was at the camp that broke out of COVID? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it doesn't make sense at all. But man, I just want to say, man, going forward, we got some good fights still. We still got Manny Pacquiao and that was Spencer at cap off our summer, and that's going to be an interesting fight.
Knock on wood.
Yesterday. Hopefully, knock on wood, that fight continues to be a fight and it actually goes down and we don't have any delays, you know, because right now, boxing, I love you, but man, y'all getting me fed up with all these cancellations and guys being divas and don't want to fight.
Yeah, we lost Teofimo. We lost Fury Wilder 3 this summer. We were 2 fights down already. Now in August, we got what? Errol Spence and Pacquiao, and then Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley. You know, I think that's what we're left with now. And it's like what's gonna get canceled next?
It's gonna be interesting, man. But yo, I want to thank y'all for coming on this show, and we definitely gotta do this again, man.
I appreciate you for having me, my brother. It's an honor.